What do you get when you cross a bumbling buffoon with a bank account the size of a small country's GDP? Why, Rowan Atkinson, of course. You might know him as the lovably dim-witted Mr. Bean or the cunning Blackadder, but off-screen, this comedy genius is living a life of luxury that would make even James Bond jealous. Get ready to have a look on the lavish lifestyle of one of Britain's most beloved funny men. From Bean to billions. First things first, let's talk cold hard cash. Just how much is Rowan Atkinson worth? Hold yourself because this might make your jaw hit the floor. Thanks largely to the massive global success of Mr. Bean, Rowan is sitting pretty on a net worth of around $150 million. Not too shabby for a guy who makes a living pulling silly faces, eh? But how did a lanky lad from Newcastle become one of the richest comedians on the planet? Well, it all started back in the 80s with a little show called Blackadder. Rowan's portrayal of the scheming, sarcastic Edmund Blackadder made him a household name in the UK and beyond. But it was his next character that would really catapult him to superstardom. Enter Mr. Bean, the childlike man-child in the brown tweed suit. With his teddy bear, his lime green mini, and his uncanny ability to get into ridiculous scrapes, Bean quickly became a global phenomenon. The TV series spawned movies, animated spin-offs, and an avalanche of merchandise money. And the cash kept rolling in from there. Rowan commanded hefty paychecks for movie roles like Johnny English and Love Actually. He shilled for big brands like M&M's and Snickers in commercials. He even turned Mr. Bean into a lucratively licensed cartoon character. It's safe to say Rowan's not struggling to pay the bills. So what does a comedian do with all that cash? Live like a king, of course. And Rowan Atkinson's regal residence is a sight to behold. His main home is an architectural marvel nestled in the picturesque English countryside of Oxfordshire. But it's not just any old mansion. This place is a bona fide work of art. In 2006, Rowan dropped a cool $3 million on a historic estate called Hand Smooth House. But despite the hefty price tag, the existing home just wasn't up to snuff for Mr. Bean. So what did he do? He knocked the whole thing down and built his modernist dream house. The resulting glass and steel creation cost a whopping $53 million to construct. It's a sprawling 8,000 square foot paradise with towering glass walls, floating staircases, and crisp minimalist design. Imagine waking up to a 360-degree view of lush green gardens and tranquil ponds. Not a bad way to start the day. But of course, one luxurious estate simply won't do for a man of Rowan's means. He's got a property portfolio that spans the Sceptred Isle, including a posh pad in London's upscale Chelsea neighborhood. When you're worth 9 figures, why not collect houses like the rest of us collect comic books? The need for speed. But enough about real estate. Let's talk about Rowan's other great love, besides making people laugh, of course. The man is positively mad about cars, and his collection of rare and vintage vehicles is the stuff of petrol-head dreams. The crown jewel of Rowan's fleet was undoubtedly his McLaren F1. This sleek speed demon is one of the most coveted cars in the world. With a price tag to match, Rowan shelled out a mind-boggling $5 million for his beloved McLaren. But hey, if you had Mr. Bean money, you'd splurge on your dream ride too. Sadly, even comedic geniuses have bad days behind the wheel. Rowan actually crashed his precious McLaren not once, but twice. The repair bills were enough to make even the ultra-wealthy wince. After the second smash-up, Rowan decided to part with his cursed car, selling it for a staggering $9 million. Hey, at least he made a tidy profit. But the McLaren was far from Rowan's only automotive indulgence. He's got an Aston Martin V8 Vantage, a vintage Rolls-Royce Phantom, a 1939 BMW 328, and countless other four-wheeled wonders. The man's garage is like a museum of motoring history, and he's not afraid to take his prized possessions out for a spin. In fact, Rowan loves driving his classic cars so much that he's even raced them competitively. That's right, Mr. Bean is a bona fide speed demon on the track. Although he might want to stick to the circuits and stay off the public roads, given his penchant for pricey pileups. Of course, when you're an internationally beloved superstar, you can't be expected to fly coach. Oh no, Rowan Atkinson travels in only the most luxurious style. By private jet, naturally. A peek at Rowan's travel history reveals a man who's no stranger to the jet-set lifestyle. He's been known to charter opulent private planes for his family getaways. And why wouldn't he? When you're worth a small fortune, you can afford to skip the security lines and screaming babies of commercial flights. But even the most lavish private jets can hit a spot of turbulence from time to time. On one particularly harrowing trip, Rowan's pilot actually passed out cold at the controls. In a scene straight out of a comedy sketch, the actor had to take over the plane while his wife frantically revived the unconscious captain. Talk about an in-flight fright. The fruits of his labor. It's easy to look at Rowan Atkinson's extravagant existence and feel a twinge of envy. The mansions, the cars, the private jets, it's a life most of us can only dream of. But let's not forget the decades of hard work and tireless dedication that got him there. Rowan didn't just stumble into success. He honed his craft for years, starting with sketch comedy at Oxford University and working his way up the showbiz ladder. He poured his heart and soul into creating characters like Blackadder and Mr. Bean, agonizing over every line, every pratfall, every silly face. And when he struck gold with Bean, Rowan didn't just kick back and count his cash. He built an empire around the character, with movies, cartoons, merchandise, and more. The man is a comedy machine, always dreaming up new ways to keep us chuckling. So yes, Rowan Atkinson lives an incredibly posh life, but it's a life he's earned through talent, graft, and sheer comedic genius. He's brought joy and laughter to millions around the globe, and that's worth more than all the fancy cars and country estates in the world. At the end of the day, Rowan Atkinson's lavish lifestyle is evidence to the power of making people laugh. Who says comedy doesn't pay? With a net worth of $150 million, a garage full of luxury cars, and homes that look like they belong in Architectural Digest, Rowan is proof that a killer sense of humor can be a goldmine. When laughing at Mr. Bean or Blackadder, remember the genius behind them. Rowan Atkinson turned talent into a $150 million fortune, living luxuriously and spreading laughter. Chase your dreams, but avoid crashing supercars.